Man, I was supposed to go to a car show with a friend last weekend. We scheduled it like months prior, and he eventually tells me that he canceled on me, right? And he says it's because his daughter wanted a birthday party for her 15th birthday. And he was like, he's not too comfortable with the party because it's at a venue, right? They reserve some space or whatever, and there's gonna be boys there. And he's like, he trusts his daughter and she's smart and everything. He's just, he wants her to have fun, but there's gonna be boys at the party, and she's not really, they never really had that sort of thing where like she brought home boys or spoke about boys or anything. So anyway, it's Friday as I'm recording this, and he told me this last weekend, right? So the birthday party happened. A few days later, he calls me this week and he's talking about random things, right? Him and I. And I asked him how the party was. And he was like, he felt a type of way. Because remember, his daughter is 15. She's like in ninth grade or 10th grade. One dude at the party was being too friendly and flirting with her. And that dude was a senior, 12th grader. Guy's like 17, 18 years old. So he's saying that makes him uncomfortable. A 12th grader and like a 10th grader. And his daughter likes him like a lot. And his wife is telling him to relax. Don't get worked up about it. And I kind of understand both perspectives, but I also have my perspective about this too. In these type of situations, you have to self-insert yourself as the parent here. I can personally be very protective over my loved ones, so I feel for my friend who is a bit rough around the edges about this. I also have to be on his side with this too. I don't feel like a senior in high school should be dating anyone under his age, even if they're one grade below them. Even if you don't think that's weird or that's fine, that's fine. Not cool. Why don't you feel that way? Look, the reason why I feel like they shouldn't be doing this is because seniors in high school are literally one step out the door and exiting out of that high school environment. When you graduate, and maybe some of you watching this who are still in high school, you may not understand my point here. The people who have graduated high school, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say, when you graduate high school, you leave your social circles in the past, your tendencies. If not immediately, you'll see it. It eventually fades away because of a lot of your classmates, your friends, your crushes, and so forth. They're going away to college, starting to get a new job, and all this. So people feel like when people graduate high school, some people they just disable their social media. They make a new account and everything. People start all over. It's like starting all over. You graduate high school, you're in another world at this point. And all the stuff that was high school activities and tendencies and so forth, or whatever was attached to high school, you won't be part of it anymore. When I graduated, I kept in touch with my friends for about a year, and that faded off. We barely even spoke or hung out during that year because one of my close friends went upstate for school, and everyone else just got busy. I even spoke to one guy who I went to high school with. We graduated together. I spoke to him a few months ago, and he told me that he still hangs out with some of his friends from high school. And the thing is, just everyone's so busy being adults and having responsibilities and living their life. Some of my friends have kids now, that it's hard to get together all the time. Also, some of them started dating people who they graduated with years later, but things fell apart, or, it's just weird. You graduate with somebody in high school and then years later you start dating them. Like sometimes it's almost like you're attaching to the past still, you know what I'm saying? And he agreed with me when I said that high school relationships don't really last. You know what it is? People think that it's like the most beautiful thing, right? High school relationships. It's a fantasy that got glorified in media. It's ideal, like people think that you're like, oh, I'm gonna date this girl in high school. We're in high school together. We're gonna graduate together. We're still gonna be in love and everything. We're gonna start a family. There's like a very small percentage that's gonna work, bro. And it's just not practical rather, because the person who you fall in love with in high school is gonna be different once the world is introduced to them. The real world, the adult world, which is exactly what I mentioned earlier. It's just weird if you're a senior dating someone in a lower grade, especially a few years under. Look, let me put it in perspective. If you're still not getting it, imagine being adult, right? Imagine, you're a high school graduate, right? You just graduated high school. You're 18 now, right? You graduate high school. You're an adult now, right? You got a job or whatever. You're in college, okay? And you pick up your girlfriend or boyfriend from high school. Imagine that. Like, what? That's not weird to y'all? That's not weird. Imagine being an adult, a high school graduate, and people ask what college your girlfriend goes to, or what does she work, and you're like, oh no, she's in high school still. Like, whoa, hey yo, hey yo. Like again, imagine just picking up your girlfriend from high school or something like that. Like, yo, he's like, yeah. You imagine text your girlfriend, yeah, school just finished. I'm going to ninth period. Like, whoa, like, man, listen, even if you're 18 and she's 17, that sounds sus. Sure, Romeo and Juliet laws. Like, people always want to play technicality with this. Fine. Yeah, I get what you're trying to go with this, but like, you got to keep it real. That doesn't even sound right. Like these scenarios I'm talking about here. And as a parent, how would you feel if your son or daughter graduates high school, he or she is 18 or 19 years old, and they're dating someone who's still waiting to graduate high school? I wouldn't be too happy about that. Would you? If they both graduated high school, then whatever. You know what I'm saying? Fine, y'all both high school graduates. Okay, do whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's the part where they're still in high school. And going back to my friend here and his concerns, yeah, I get his wife is like, let her enjoy her birthday. They're at a venue. Don't try to control her. Like, it's just like they're not going to do anything crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's parents here, but it's like she's 15, bruh. Dude is like 17 or 18. What if they start dating? And what if they want more out of that venue, that party? And what if he graduates and moves away from college or something? They're dating. Like, what you gonna make your daughter experience this heartbreak? Like, what's going on with this? You know what I'm saying? What if they start dating and things get very physical? You get what I'm saying? Like, maybe I'm like my friend where I'm feeling overprotective. I'm not okay with that. And don't get it twisted, because people say like there's a double standard with this, right? Yo, I would feel the same way if the roles were reversed. If I had a 15-year-old son and he's dating a senior in high school, 17 or 18-year-old girl, that's weird to me. But see, and this again, it has to do with being a senior here. You know what's funny? When I was in middle school, high school, I crushed on older girls, but we never dated. Well, not true. When I was in a 3-day relationship. I don't even know if that counts. I was in a 3-day relationship with a girl who was 1 grade above me when I was in 7th grade. So she was in 8th grade. But see, that's different. A 7th and an 8th grader dating, that's way different than a senior and a sophomore or freshman dating, Like, and I may even say a freshman and a junior dating. Because again, with the whole argument I made with graduating in high school and being a senior and all that stuff. Anyway, what do you guys think? This episode is found on Spotify and YouTube. I'm out.